I chose to review is The Wounded Storyteller, Body, Illness and Ethics, which is written by renowned professor of sociology Arthur W. Frank. This is one of the best-selling book, and his work in this has become part of medical sociology and humanities. In this book, author talks about illness and how it affects or changes a person's life. Frank himself has survived some fatal diseases like heart disease and cancer. He explains that narrating a story of illness is a need, an obligation of the body on the storyteller, and in the process of storytelling, healing takes place, which reshapes a person's life or give a completely new meaning to his life. The sick person comes to know a whole new meaning of his life, thus the name of the book, The Wounded Storyteller. The tales of sickness have power of healing for others suffering from some diseases and help his caregivers, creating an empathetic bond between the teller and the listener. Frank, starting as a medical sociologist, works with Talcott Parsons, Robert Martin, and Elliot Fredson, and got his inspiration for the book from John Donne and William James and many others. This reflects the heteroglossic nature of this book, as they all have contributed in this book. Frank says that sick people are not simply the victims of disease or patients of medicine, and telling the story of illness is not simply a recitation of details of sickness, or they are not only memoirs but testimony, a discourse of sick person which is rich in content and context, as it represents their moral choices and point towards a social ethic, and by telling their story they try to make sense of their suffering and healing and find healing. And the way stories are told and retold reflect the social and cultural context. There is a movie on a similar subject which actually shows what happens when a healthy person gets to know that they are sick with some kind of a serious or even a fatal disease. How they feel that they have lost their voice and they have to submit to their physicians and adapt and wait. How they become a part of a marginalized group and become dependent on others. They may recover or die or become a member of Remission Society, as Frank named it.
You have cancer. Miss Baring, you have advanced metastatic ovarian cancer.
Go on.
You are a professor, Miss Baring.
Like yourself, Dr. Gleekian.
Ah, yes. Now then, you present with a growth that unfortunately went undetected in stages 1, 2, and 3. Now it is an insidious adenocarcinoma.
Insidious?
Insidious means undetectable at an early stage.
Insidious means treacherous.
Shall I continue?
Oh, by all means.
Good. In invasive epithelial carcinoma, the most effective treatment modality is a chemotherapeutic agent. We are developing an experimental combination of drugs designed for primary site ovarian with a target specificity of stage 3 and beyond administration. Am I going too fast?
No.
You will be hospitalized as an inpatient for treatment each cycle. After the initial 8 cycles, you will have another battery of tests. The antineoplastic will inevitably affect some healthy cells, including those lining the gastrointestinal tract from the lips to the anus and the hair follicles. We will, of course, be relying on your resolve to withstand some of the more pernicious side effects. Miss Baring?
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Do you have any questions so far?
Please go on. I should have asked more questions, because I knew there was going to be a test. Hi, how are you feeling today?
Fine.
Great. That's just great. This is not my standard greeting, I assure you. I tend towards something a little...
Author has divided the book into two: the times in which the stories are told, the way they are told, times which are pre-modern, modern, and post-modern. He defines pre-modern as a time when illness was accepted as an inevitable occurrence in one's life, and the only treatment was to go to bed and take rest until recovery or death. There was no intervention from a doctor, and friends and family used to take care of the person. Modern period has started from the middle of this century and is still developing in many ways, where all the technologies and expertise are used to treat the ill. Disease is identified, categorized, and plan for treatment is made. If malady is eradicated and person is treated, the treatment is thought to be successful. Otherwise, a new treatment strategy is planned out. Moreover, it is generally understood that if a person is sick, he has to see a doctor, and if he is found to be seriously ill, he is sent to a hospital. There is also defined duty of a sick person, that is the responsibility to get better and show compliance to the other orders of physician. Postmodern. Author prospects about the future that the lapses of this time and methodology will be rectified in the future, where sick person will claim their authority over medical process and will acquire legitimate status in society. This can only happen if the medical profession and the society start valuing and considering the storytelling on the part of sick. The fight to disease is turned into an experience. Then these stories are told and retold in different ways by the family, friends, medical staff, media, and different public health campaigns. Author describes three types of story types: restitution, anticipating; getting well again, give prominence to technology and cure; chaos, illness without respite or insight forever; quest, illness as a mean to renewal, someone new. Restitution. It is a type of story which starts when the first symptom of disease appear in a previously healthy person. He becomes sick but treated and ultimately gets better. This is the most common type of story which is heard more of a reason because people like to hear about good, about hope, about brighter prospects after bad things. They accept positivity in general. Chaos. These are the stories which are very much different from restitution narratives, as in these stories a fully controlled body crashes down to powerlessness. There is no hope for getting cured. The only settlement is to adapt oneself to the situation of no control over his or her body. On the other hand, people don't like to hear about these stories as it fills them with fear, dread, and anxiety imagining oneself in the similar situation. These are the stories which are shortcomings of the modern time of technology and method. Example, tremors and urine incontinence. The third type is quest narrative. A journey from being healthy, reaching to illness, facing all the symptoms, and enduring ordeals of sickness, and then reaching to recovery. That is the rediscovery of himself and the purpose of his existence. Here, the journey is the focus, not the recovery. This gives the person their distinctive voice. These stories are widely published, told, and retold, parenting other forms such as patient advocacy. There are further three types of quest narratives: memoir, manifesto, and automythology. In my opinion, this book scattered on rereading. Some of its parts are dense and difficult to grasp and took me a while to get through it. Few last chapters on the quest narratives and on testimony stand out as a particularly well written. Wounded Storyteller is a theoretical yet provoking testimony to the importance of storytelling during the illness. Wounded bodies are also wounded in voice. Illness narratives are therapeutic in that they allow the body self to articulate and make sense of the interruptions caused by illness. It is possibly that illness stories can shape up communities, the way they deal with the illness, people, patient, caregivers, and the way a personal relationships, thoughts, attitudes towards life is changed. The impact of storytelling of illness has a greater public health benefit and influences the health promotion, and that the storytelling is a way to understand our own suffering. Frank sees suffering as an opportunity to change. The body self, whose foreground is dominated by threat, is unmade, but unmaking can be a generative process. What is unmade stands to be remade. As it is said, wounds is the place where light enters you.